let's not get things wrong here. It's a mammoth task for Royal Club, but I think if there's one team that can throw them off the game early on, it might just be Royal Club.
It's a team with nothing to lose, right? Because yes, they are in the final. Nobody expects them to win. They've squeaked past, honestly, the quarterfinals and the semifinals, and they're playing with house money. Plus, I've watched enough sports to know upsets do happen.
Well, that's one of the things we have to expect from Royal Club, is expect the unexpected. A team that always plays off momentum. We'll see if they can get some here, starting with picks and bans. We went over this a little bit. We know we'd see the Alistar and the Zillion. Rengar will get hit against Insect, as it has been throughout the tournament.
Yeah, I was curious what White was going to ban, because I feel like they hold most of the cards in this championship banning phase. I thought maybe we would see a Lucian ban, because I'm expecting lane swaps from White. But right now, they are more testing Insect's champion pool, much like was tested in the semifinals, where he had to break out Fiddlesticks as well as Pantheon. So 2 jungle bans and a Lucian ban.
So we did see Rumble go away. The Lucian ban we were wondering about, will they take that away from Uzi, force him onto something else? He, of course, has left Ryze open. It's also left Maokai open, and for me, 2 very strong picks early on for the top lane.
Yeah, Twitch is exactly what White wants in this, because they are so good in the lane swap game. Twitch is the champion for that, and they actually just end up trading power picks in the top lane, things that have been banned in the past. It is a good start in this champion select for Samsung White.
See that Twitch possibly means the lane swap. We'll have to see what else comes in for White. Insect hovering with 2 junglers right now, as Corrin has that Kha'Zix, so they're kind of just buying their time, not giving White too much time to think about what they actually do lock in. Taking the Janna away from Mata would be huge to stop his roam in the early game and really create pressure for everything else.
I think that jungle pick fairly obvious at this stage. Rengar, Lee Sin both banned away. Comes down to Kha'Zix at that point. Insect, of course, has played a couple of different things. We also, as you mentioned, see the Janna there for 0. On the other side, though, this is what I'm now interested in. What does Dandy bring into the jungle?
I would have to guess something like Jarvan, only because he did have success with that in the group stage. He didn't really have to bring it out much, but that's what they're going to end up going for here. A lot of early game pressure with that pick.
Does have that single play on it with the victory, but a very strong victory, as they all have been for White. Like we said, under that average time of 30 minutes means they are ready to do business in each and every game. We'll see what else is locked in. Mata still gets playmaking on Thresh here, and Uzi may just go back to his Tristana. He does lock that in. Corrin will bring the Orion in the mid lane, as we thought. So does the Jace round it out again for Pawn?
He has the flexibility to do pretty much whatever he wants in the mid lane. And I think White needs to be a little bit careful here not to default into this becoming a late game match, because they've had so much success with very snowbally champions, winning before 20 minutes and hitting very specific power spikes. I think Jace is the right pick for them here, because I think he'll be able to farm very well against Corrin, and then they can set up their poke siege, but they do not want to pick a late game combo.
Yeah, I mean, Jace for Pawn has been such a star pick for him. 3 games played, 3 games won, 18-3-32, giving him over a 16 KDA in those 3 games. That is a massive deal coming into this one. Corrin, of course, his big champion these World Championships has been Orianna, but we'll see how we can handle Pawn, because that's a big factor in this.
Yeah, in all actuality, the picks that Starhorn Royal Club have here are actually quite good picks for them. They're all champions that they have seen a lot of success on. Uzi played that Tristan game 5 of the quarterfinals to really secure the victory. You know, they have a good late game core there. They're really just going to have to worry about the early game onslaught that Samsung White has been able to bring on their opponents and keeping up if we see a lane swap.
It's been crazy what White has brought to this tournament. Aggression, pretty much without preparation. You just find them in your face, and that continues to happen. They win the game practically before it's over, if you could actually say that. They have such a gold lead. It was 6,000 at 6 minutes on blue, and then even more at 10 minutes to about 20,000. It just multiplies so fast for them. And we'll have to see if Starhorn can actually match that aggression in the early game.
And it's very interesting when we're talking about early game. We don't have much of a big pool to look at how Samsung White lose. Only 1 game in these World Championships. Yeah. It happened when TSM dominated the lane game and snowballed off it. Can Royal Club do that? We'll find out.
We will find out. The teams are loading in, and the first World Championship game is about to go live. Who do you think will win? Start sharing your predictions on Twitter by sending either hashtag SHR win or SSW win to @LOL Esports, and we'll check in throughout the series to see where the fan vote stands. I'm sure it's going to be going back and forth, but Starhorn, they got a pretty good chunk of it. There are believers, but the stats, they almost say different.
So here we go then into game number 1 of the 2014 World Championship Final. Starhorn Royal Club on the blue side taking on Samsung White on the red for this first game. What is going to happen? We talk about level 1. White have done really well at level 1 before.
And the biggest thing to take away from Samsung White's level 1 is how quickly they can draw conclusions off the smallest of hints. If they see a defensive ward early in the top lane, they generally think the team's going for standard lanes. If it's a more offensive ward, they're expecting a lane swap. Here, they have a ward to prone for the invade, and now we need to see how White reacts. They've had some incredibly effective level 1s. 3 buffing multiple people, taking 3 buffs at level 1, but they've also had a few minor hiccups because they do get so aggressive. But they absolutely have the upper hand here because they have absolute vision on Royal Club in the jungle.
A pincer to be had right now. 2 wards, or at least a ward, laid down. One's in mid. They see that Pawn could start closing up, and they're going to start coming around. This would be the exit path here for Royal Club. They're going to try to hit up for Pawn. They said, where did he go?
Oh my God.
Rush vision with the ball. Command move there. Uzi takes that jump first. Rocket jump is going to be down. Pawn goes in. He gets knocked out. That's the room prison to him. Zero's the first one. Zero's ignited, and that goes to Dandy to start off a lot of jungle aggression in the game. Royal Club's not done yet. Expect the unexpected. 1 down. They still want to go for this fight. Pawn fires a shock blast without the gate over the wall, and they're going to disengage with first blood already. 1 minute 20 in.
It almost looked like Pawn lost his mind there trying to go in before the rest of the team, but that small amount of damage he put down was just enough for them to bait that next kill. Honestly, I think both those players, Zero and Pawn, succumbed a little bit to the pressure of the World Championship. Those were very over-aggressive, considering at that level 1 juncture, there was nothing to fight over, and neither one of them actually needed to blow summoner spells. But because slightly better execution on White's side, they get the first blood, and they also send their laners top.
Well, the hectic start that we were looking for happens here in game number 1. See there, Dandy and Looper starting things off on their blue buff, as has happened with the jungler and top laner over the other side. Gives us, though, that 2 versus 2 top lane. Jan and Tristana against Twitch and Thresh. What do we think to this one, Jack?
This is actually a lane phase that I didn't really think White would buy into. Because of the chaos at level 1, they're actually having to lane Imp and Mata against Uzi and Zero. This is one of the few conditions where Royal Club could actually come out on top of this game. Assuming they can avoid the hooks from Mata, they can actually win this laning phase with a little bit of jungle intervention. This is a very good start for Royal Club if they had just avoided that first blood.
A lot of summoner used in the beginning of that fight, so they're going to be down for quite a big time here. We have exhaust and flash down for Pawn, maybe a focus coming in for Insect. Still has his flash up for a dangerous play, but right now they're doing their own thing in the jungle. We're not going to see that swap and help to the jungle or any nonsense in the beginning of this one. Wards have already been laid down for very safe top laning here, coming in for Imp and Mata.
So Dandy was topside and thought he might end up coming over with Zero not having his, but they're pushed to the tower. There's the stats for Imp as well on Twitch. 7-0. Absolute beast on this champion, and with them fanning away that Lucian as well, force Uzi onto his Tristana, which has had a little bit more mixed success, that's for sure, when you look down the statistics.
I'm actually still quite surprised that we're seeing this 2v2 in the top lane, but as the lanes are playing right now, Imp and Mata are doing very well with Twitch Thresh. So as long as they can get out of that laning phase and pull a little bit ahead with Twitch Thresh, they're going to be completely okay, because the other lanes, the solo lanes in particular, should completely outperform. If we compare how well Pawn and Looper have played in this World Championship to Korn and Cola, who have played okay, but nowhere near the level of Pawn and Looper, the lane phase really favors White here, adding to the first blood.
And White already makes the move. That back, we have to also note, that was 1 kill to Dandy, but 3 assists down Pawn, Imp, and Mata. So they go back quick after having a bit of a CS lead to buy CS is a bit evened up now, but now to the bottom lane for Imp and Mata.
Yeah, and this is more of what we expected. They are reactively swapping. They knew that they had a nice start to shove Uzi and Zero into that lane, and now they're gonna be all about getting map control and making moves faster than Royal Club can react to them. When we watched that semifinal against Samsung Blue, it was so fast. I had to watch it again and again to catch all the little things that White was able to do. They really are the fastest playing League of Legends team in the world, and that excels in lane swap scenarios where there are more decisions to be made, that speed has a larger benefit for you.
And we saw there the impeccable timing from White. They see the recall in bottom side. They go through into the enemy jungle knowing they'll have the numbers advantage there. They get full vision control.
That's the biggest thing there, Joe. Because they recalled first and initiated the swap, they get the vision, and there's a dive.
The dive is straight onto Corny. Opponent tanked up the turret. One more hit will come in, but he survives that one. And again, Dandy coming around the side, but it was basically a one-on-one play, which Pawn is so good at.
Yeah, and honestly, the end of that play started a minute and a half ago when the duo lane recalled from the top lane, because that prompted Uzi and Zero to go back, which prompted time to get vision control in the jungle, which allowed Dandy to turret dive, knowing that a counter gank could not be there because he came from a place of absolute vision. It is just Samsung White working in synchrony as they have the entire World Championship.
Ridiculous aggression and calculation. Pawn's flash and exhaust both being ready, not ready, exhaust was, but he couldn't flash out of that. They knew what they needed to do, and this is what Samsung White continues to do, is push small advantages, and they become very big, very fast.
It's incredible to watch right here, but honestly, the game is obviously not over. It's just 2 kills. World Club needs to adjust to the speed of this match. They need to be able to make their own aggressive moves. If you play on the back foot against Samsung White, as we've seen Blue tried to do just for a little bit, you get absolutely crushed.
So this mid lane then, after Korn went down, obviously takes no genius to realize that Pawn is going to be starting to get a big advantage there. Tia, almost a brutalizer done for him as well. There was a pink ward put down. So Royal Club actually have the 3 pink wards across the map, but did you see the pings there? They've literally just pinged on all 3 pink wards, one after the other to clear out.
Yeah, one amazing thing that I find watching Samsung White games is, yes, we talk about the communication they must all have, but honestly, one person or even 2 people cannot communicate the team-wide movements that they make. It's because they've played the same style for so long. Everyone contributes, and it's more about them all being on the same page. The ward control and the vision on this map has already deeply invaded Royal Club's personal space. So there's no way Royal Club is comfortable right now in any of their lanes, really, because they don't have jungle control, they don't necessarily have CS leads, they've already been dove in the mid lane 5 minutes into the game. Things are not going well for Royal, and that means they can't react to the next play that White decides to make.
Saw just a minute ago the combination of Pawn and Dandy giving each other help to clear one of those pink wards that now Mata is in that area for. And another thing we see Dandy doing, if he does well or doesn't do well, is rushing those mobility boots to continuously make plays.
Yeah, and it's just so he can get more control, place more wards, make it to more ganks. With the early level 6, expect some fireworks.
And again, we see Dandy and Mata going completely unchecked towards mid lane. Korn, he's got no flash available here. There is the vision on Mata, though, and Korn walking back at the perfect time there just to make sure that they don't just collapse in on top of him. Once again, a good accelerated shot blast, and honestly, this may even open up a push towards Dragon if they can get Korn out of there. They know, however, though, that Uzi and Zero are both in that bottom lane still. That's a danger for them.
A huge tribute to Uzi here as well, being by himself in lane, but against 2. Usually that's just the solo lane for him, and he's still only down 1 CS. That was a few more a second ago, but as it crashes into the turret, even without Mata, he's able to stay strong by himself. The harassment still coming out of Pawn in the mid lane. Now with both summoners up, we could probably see something happening again there.
Yeah, but one thing that Royal Club is probably pretty happy about is Uzi has not been attacked. Surprisingly, the focus has been on the mid lane of Royal Club, and now the top lane. The solo lanes are actually what White has decided to target. Cola is in a whole heap of trouble.
That's going to be a big hit.
Oh, this is really bad. Pawn's come up from the mid lane as well. There was the teleport coming in. Korn, he may just be going down on this one. Who's tanking up the turret? It was Pawn. He flashes away, and he gets out of range just in time. 3 men low, but they get the 2 kills.
These are actually the 2 biggest mismatches in this series. The top lane, mid lane of White versus Royal Club. And it is showing here via the help of Dandy and the teamwork they are showing. Constantly having Ryze and Orianna pushed into their turrets is allowing White to make the aggressive moves. Pretty much all of their kills, save the first blood, have been from turret dive situations. Nothing is safe, and it is completely unexpected because everyone expected them to attack Uzi. Seeing this one again, it was just Cola dying at the right time, and then just really great exhaust use to make sure the Shockwave couldn't finish them off, and turret dancing right there. Each one of those guys, if they take 1 extra turret shot, would have fell, but it's still flawless thus far, 4 kills to 0.
Royal Club still not giving up here. They're trying to make plays on top of being behind. It's only 2K right now, but Dragon looks like it could be on the horizon, very much so, for Samsung White, and that's going to catapult them even more into the lead. Pawn starts building up the Brutalizer. It'll be a Last Whisper next as he gets that damage going. The tier already stacking in that sense, and Looper's almost finishing that Rod of Ages to charge up as well. The wards to be cleared out here. It looks like they know they'll have the control to start on this Dragon quite soon. Yeah,
the one thing that Royal Club can hope for here is a messed up Dragon by White where they take a little bit too much damage, and if Korn can somehow land a nice Shockwave in there, but the pressure is just ever relenting. They can't focus on anything because everything is getting pressured.
Well, one thing that we didn't touch on too much is the fact that Korn went with that teleport there in the mid lane, something that you've just got to make plays on. I mean, if you don't take the Ignite in there, a heal in there, even a barrier in there, whatever, you still have to make use of this teleport, and so far he's made a use of it once. He went to the top lane too late, ended up dying. They get 2 kills from that. We'll see what that teleport really turns into a little bit later on, and you can see that Pawn moving up already. Saw already though that Cola was walking back and realized he's probably on top of a ward there.
And in theory, having double teleport on your solo laners can also help out your bottom lane even more because you can collapse your entire team there in an instant. It'll also help you catch up if the other team rotates faster than you. But even with the catch-up mechanics, they didn't have enough raw power to take down Samsung White as they were diving their turrets. I'm actually very impressed, once again, with Samsung White's focus in this game, actually attacking Cola and Korn and leaving Uzi to his devices, knowing that he's on Trist, knowing that that won't become scary until very late in the game, and focusing on not letting it get to that point.
We see this numerous times from White. They know they're so far ahead. They say, if you want it, we'll force you into a fight. We could probably ace as well, but Royal Club knows they need to stay off this one, continue to farm. Insect is 63 to 46, but he doesn't have the 3 kills and an assist that Dandy has, so he still needs to get himself built up here, only with the Lizard Elder. That puts the gold at about 3,000 up. 4-0 here. Still waiting for Uzi to make a lot of plays. Like we said, expect the unexpected. We've seen him jump into fights to start them. There's 0 on the backside still.
And this is a statistic that we heard earlier on the analyst desk, that if you look at their gold at 10 and then at 20, there's a massive jump up that's not just a similar double, because they go in that phase of the game straight into objective control and really bring that early lead into a massive mid-game lead, which is then so difficult to get away from. Currently, if we look down some of these lanes, some of the items that have been built up as Insect just waits there to maybe get involved in the bottom lane. Jace is the one that you have to look to. Pawn 103, Brutalizer, Pickaxe, and that tier already stacking for a good while now already.
Yeah, it's a 371 of 750 already at 13 minutes in this match. Plus, he's sitting on over 1,500 gold. They're using that acceleration gate and the boots of mobility to just completely outmaneuver Royal Club. The mid lane has been devastated, which is allowing Pawn absolute freedom on this map. I mean, they're actually beyond the ward line of Royal Club right now. They warded the lane in the river, and they're inside the jungle, which isn't giving anyone anywhere to go.
Just about everybody on White has freedom of the map right now, are still placing deep wards in towards the Wolves. And it looks like Uzi's going to do what they can with 0 here to push this top lane as fast as possible. Try to return a turret back, get some objective gold in, but they're already going to be stopped, and this could be a play if decides not to come out of stealth with the aggression, but just to hold them off from getting the turret.
No, but he may well do soon. Blade of the Ruined King is done for him, and that's traditionally when he's really got involved as Uzi actually using his ultimate. There is a Blade of the Ruined King used from him. Gonna try and get in there. Zero will have to bring the Monsoon down. It's all going to be about the hook from Mata. Good Howling Gale. Mata's hook was on cooldown there for a little while longer anyway, and they walk away, taking out the first turret for Star on Royal Club here.
And that was the only place on the map that White hadn't attacked. Now, Royal Club trying to turn that into a larger strength. Flash away, they hook him in.
Could be Imp getting a kill here. That Blade of the Rune King is down, so they don't have too much more catch potential, but they do have Pawn coming down. What a shot!
There behind
Equalize from Pawn. Here comes the next two, Dandy and Looper. That wasn't even a teleport coming in from Looper. It's still up. That was just him walking on down. The timing from White has been impeccable already.
And with the mid lane turret being taken down so early by White, they have the freedom of both junglers. Korn has been pushed onto his back foot, and it is allowing Samsung White to attack any point of the map they want. They have more map control, they have more movement speed, and they have quicker decision making, which is leading to this 6-0, 5,000 gold, 15-minute lead.
Pawn deadly accurate with that shot, and we're going to watch that one again, starting with Mata flashing into the hook on Insane.
Yeah, and he was just getting out of execution range from Uzi, but the whole time he was planning on turning this one around because all 5 members of Samsung White were there. That small minion gave him vision to line up his shock blast, and the rest of the team just piled on for some easy kills.
Red buff now to Pawn. He can even go for the 1v1s, which he loves so much with that. And we're going to see if Royal Club can start to answer back at all. Now completely on the back foot. We said about that 5,000 gold behind. They need to start getting the forward wards out. Not need to, but it would definitely help here. Zero staying with the team though right now. They will have to protect Uzi if he is going to be the one to start getting the carry. Static shiv to start so they can stop some of these waves from crashing into their turrets. We know White for their impeccable wave control as well.
Wow, and there is another shot blast coming through the acceleration gate, and well, killing spree now for Pawn. Once again though, it's Imp that actually got that one started, coming in stealth, but using that Blade of the Ruin King to get him going. And wow, just a bit of a destruction right now. Pawn absolutely on fire with Jace.
And what do you really do? This is something that Samsung White has been able to do against every team at the World Championship. Another dive!
Oh, there's the moving from Mata. Monsoon using the back. There's the kill coming down. First one of the game from Royal Club. But what will it cost them? Zero goes down. They trap in Kohler as well. Only an Uzi and a Korn to survive it. And now they go back, say thank you for the turret as well. We'll run away. It was only Mata that went down for Samsung White.
And they get 2 more kills on the backside. First blood in a sense for Royal Club, but is on the support. It goes to the mid laner, and they lose yet another turret. 4 turrets to 1, and still completely on their back foot. This is what Samsung White does to teams.
Well, even the White himself is in the lane.
He's helping out. He's helping out a little bit.
It's what we've seen from White throughout all of their games from the tournaments is this skirmish team that also has that pick potential to come in and just keep eating people alive. We see it here from both sides. They create another pincer.
And this could have been a whole lot more worse if Dandy didn't get Shockwave out of his EQ combo. That slowed down the initiation from Samsung White, but you can see it's just a full pylon. They are very tanky and very willing to all go in on the same page. It's at 15 minutes. A lot of the old criticisms against Samsung White were the fact that they would get over-aggressive in games. They would become overconfident. They're playing with a whole bunch of confidence now, but it's merited because they're picking champions that better fit that style. Jace is strong right now and will continue to be strong. It's not like they're making moves before they are powerful, and that's why it's working so well.
And it's incredible because we saw with 4 of these members that confidence was what actually really kicked them out of the tournament last year. They got too overconfident, and they didn't really respect the power of other teams. They seemed to be able to level that confidence out and use it to just keep going forward, keep pressuring aggression, here more ward control to come in, and they're gonna have no problem, an uncontested dragon.
While we're on the confidence topic, I mean, the way that Samsung White have got to this final makes it harder for whoever would have met them, because you just look at their games and you say, how in God's name do we beat these teams? They look so incredibly good. They're making very rare mistakes. Yes, you'll find 1 or 2 in each game, but not usually things that you can just jump on and say we can snowball the game from that point.
Yeah, and I think there is a distinct difference between aggression and speed. Samsung White just plays fast. Yes, they are aggressive, but it is all very calculated. They see one ward on the other side of the map, and that will mean they can make a play completely elsewhere. We've seen that time and again in this game. They are always having more people faster than Royal Club has. They pick boots up boots of mobility up as quickly as possible on their jungler. I mean, Dandy had those at 5 minutes into the match. Insec is still yet to complete his, because at the moment, Royal Club can't keep up, so they're just trying to become as powerful as possible in very small corridors in the hopes of a brawl. But White isn't really letting them brawl. They're picking the fights when they want. That was a little crazy, though.
Mata gets himself into a dangerous spot, but do they want to fight? Looper's already there, knocks Insect away, and he makes sure Uzi cannot return. That's the buster shot onto Looper, and they've hardly taken any damage as they take over control now of the bottom jungle. We saw two of the, I don't even remember the name now. Scrying orbs, there it is, had to be up on the map. So they can get into the jungle right now, but
you don't have ward control.
They can't have ward control. Another hook from Mata. It's going to be everything that they need on Nicola, who would hopefully carry the game on Rise, or it was going to be Korn coming out onto Ori. He also goes down, and Pawn is going to be the one to pick that one up, and the turret for the team. Double blue buffs on people running into the inhibitor.
Yeah,
that's the chaos.
They could just flash everything. They keep going on this one. Uzi almost getting caught up there, but they forced them off the inhibitor turret, which was the aim of this. 20 minutes into the game, the first inhibitor turret goes down. The first inhibitor will surely follow as well. Impact's getting a little low, but I'm not sure that they're done with this one. Looper went aggressive onto Uzi. The inhibitor does finally go down. Pawn will finish that, and they walk away, taking almost more kills there, but they get the first inhib at just over 20 minutes in.
And this is the start that Royal Club really hoped wouldn't happen. Uzi in particular as well. He is the only player in League of Legends history to play now in 2 World Finals. And he got 3-0'd last year. It's not looking good early on, but just taking a look at this dive, the presence of mind here, first they get the hook. Watch Pawn flash the shockwave as well. With all the chaos going on, the exhausts, the turret going down, the Janna ultimate, everyone flying everywhere, he sees the shockwave, flashes it almost immediately. Looper doesn't care because he's too much of a tank. They continue the dive. They have the presence of mind to finish the turret. Everyone is just on the same page with this huge lane, playing confidently, but the calmness that they are showing. Look at Pawn. He's got this expressionless face at the moment in front of 40,000 people in this stadium, and they're doing whatever they want.
And it doesn't look like it's going to end in the bottom lane. They go right to the top on the other side. More than the flash of Cola, but that was the ult into the flag and drag out of Cataclysm to keep in range and keep the kills coming. We can see into the minds of Starhorn a little bit, whether he wanted to use it or not. In that last fight, Korn did not use his blue elixir. Just too much going on. Samsung White is not stopping. Pedal to the metal now. Baron at 22 minutes.
And what a game 1 display this has been from Samsung White. 12,000 gold, about to secure this Baron buff. A small participation award for Royal Club to maybe get that second turret, but honestly, 13-1 with the Baron buff. This game will not last much longer.
And it's hard when you look down the performance in this game number 1. Dandy, early first blood, doing things like he did there, flag and drag into the enemy jungle to cut them off. Cataclysm, it was flashed instantly, you think, okay, that's over. No, flag and drag straight away, even got the knock-up from it as well to keep things going. Mata's hooks so far have been absolutely godlike, and Samsung White, if there was any question as to if they would turn up here in front of this massive audience, they've already been answered. They look incredible.
And this is their stage to succeed. Honestly, they were so close throughout all of 2014 to winning an OGN championship, and they just couldn't get there. They were always something just a little bit off. Everything is coming together here, and honestly, they've always been a pretty fast team playing the game, but they haven't necessarily picked the right champions for them. Additionally, this is such a good patch for them, and it's showing through right here. This gold lead is insurmountable pretty much at 23 minutes, and they're just waiting to group up to finish the game.
And it's quite easy for White to succeed. Every time they win a fight, they're able to go back and finish another core item. We just saw Uzi finishing a last Whisper after his static shiv. Pretty strung out for gold in that bottom lane. If he's going to be the carry, it's going to be that much harder.
He's pretty much done with that build, I think, at this stage. I mean, if you compare that to the Ghost Blade, to that Blade of the Ruin King, obviously Pawn's the one you look at and his items and you say, well, he's just out of control. Black Cleaver, Muramana is done there. He's got a BF sword on top of his last Whisper. This is a Jace that blows you up. Everything catching Korn out. This could be inhibitor number 2.
14,000 gold lead is absolutely showing. We know White for the lowest games or lowest average time out of groups, highest KDA, and they're showing us how it happens right here. On to Uzi, arcane smash, not a chance to think about it. He goes down from the hands of Pawn. That one misses. Not much more damage coming out, but Corn still down. Uzi's got 30 seconds. Insect gets caught. There's the Cataclysm. There's the takedown as Dandy gets another one for himself at 5:09. The first Nexus turret in 24 minutes. The second one follows through, and we're already on to game 2. 24 and a half minutes in. The Nexus goes down. Samsung White take game 1.
And you have to wonder how Royal Club could come back from that. Because from minute 1, they were defeated. They were spotted in their initial level 1. They picked champions they were relatively comfortable with, but definitely took a lot longer to turn on. Their strongest player, Uzi, was given freedom in the early game, and they were still absolutely destroyed. So White prepared so well for this, executed nearly flawlessly, and they're 2 games from the championship.
And that's one of the things that I like coming in here. You said comfort picks pretty much all around. Royal Club did get those comfort picks. Colo wanted Rise. That's what we were thinking at least, right? Always played better on it than his Aurelia. You have Insect on Kha'Zix, Corn on his Orianna.
Okay pick because the 2 jungle bans, but it's honestly still pretty good.
And then Uzi reverting back to the Tristana. You don't get a late game chance against White.
No, and that's the problem, I think, with going with that kind of comp. That yes, full-on comfort picks across the board in a way, but if you can't get to the stage of the game where that lineup is at its strongest, you're never going to be able to win against a team like White, who just did, again, everything by the book, making it look far too easy.
That's really what it was, and these games are not easy for Samsung White, but they make it look that way.
Yeah, exactly.
They haven't had a weak road here. They've just made their opposition
that's what a lot of people thought.
Look worse. They've actually played against, in the group stage, the #1 seed from China. In the quarterfinal, the #1 seed from North America. Semifinal, the #1 seed from... How much harder do you want their scale to get? But they're making it look easy. They are completely on course to get 1 loss in the entire World Championship if this game is any indication.
And we may see those picks come out once again, the early game Assassins. That's the only reason they lost that game. They fell behind, TSM snowballed it, but I don't think they'll make that mistake again. They adapt so quickly, and we saw versus Blue, we haven't even seen everything they've been able to bring to the table.
I think the fact is that Royal Club have to do something completely off the wall different here. We've seen time and time again how well Samsung White control these games, how they start off with a little lead somewhere on the map, and it ends up with a massive lead across the entire map. You've got to throw them off their game.
It's going to be really hard to throw them off their game here because they themselves said they really got past a barrier when they defeated Samsung Blue, and it could just create them to play even better League of Legends, and that's what we're seeing right now.
Well, we know there's the Royal Club curse. They win the first 2 games, they'll never take it, but if they don't, maybe they can come back in the end. So right now we're going to throw it over to our guys at the analyst desk for a breakdown on Samsung White's commanding win.
Thank you very much, Riv. I think ever the optimist, that is a terrifying start to the series if you are a supporter of Royal Club. I want to kick this off very quickly. That was the fastest first blood in the 2014 World Championship. Samsung White secured it and then just continued to steamroll over Royal Club.
Yeah, so they won 5 minutes faster than their average, which is already the fastest average in Worlds. They are still the best early game team in this, and it's not because they're outlaning their opponents. Specifically, it's because they're making plays with their team and beating up individual lanes and snowballing that.
Yeah, just as an aside as well, our stats guy gave me the heads up. That is, I think, a tie for the largest kill lead in a game. So plus 15 kills in your opponent. Let's get the picks and bans or the team comps graphics on your screen. Monte Cristo, you've got some thoughts on how these 2 comps played out, and let's get the ball rolling.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at this, you see that they're going to need a lot of time to scale on Tristana and Rise. And for me, the most baffling question is, why do you run a teleport Orianna? Because basically at that point, you've eviscerated your mid game. The champion with the smoothest power curve, the smoothest transition, is able to be dived so readily in that mid lane, especially when they got a teleport advantage early. On the other side, you do see Imp with that Twitch. He will hit that 1 item, Blade of the Ruin King power spike, and you know, it was really all too easy for Pawn 2 after the level 1, and the all-in under the tower that you can pull when Orianna doesn't really have another summoner spell that's useful in a skirmish is pretty extraordinary.
Exactly. You saw Samsung White come out about 1 turret shot from dead in that dive itself, and that's a barrier or a healer or an ignite that Corn could have really used. And yeah, I have to echo what you said, what Riv said as well, which is why are you picking a comp that needs time to come online? This is a team that specifically doesn't give you time to come online. Pick guys that buy time, not ones that need time for Royal Club.
I share this thought.
Yeah, I was just about to say, what was the point of picking Tristana against the team with the shortest game time? That's like so counterintuitive. You would want to pick something like Lucian, like Corki, something that can turtle and actually kill the minions when you're getting 5-man by Samsung White.
I just want to highlight some of the beauty in like their map-wide plays because it's impossible to even catch that in a single replay. I remember this instance where top lane, the 2v2, they base on level 3. Mata has about like 300 gold. Normally people would say like, I want to wait for an item. No, Mata bases, buys 2 green wards, a pink ward. He runs down the middle lane. Imp goes down the bottom. Dandy does a camp. Once that camp is done, they meet up perfectly at the exact same time. Invade the enemy jungler. Pink ward goes down. Green ward goes down. Green ward goes down. At the same time, Looper on the other side of the map, he somehow figures out where his enemy top laner is, goes into the jungle, and then at the 6-minute mark, all camps, barring one from Insect, are warded. They have complete knowledge of anything he can do on that side of the map, and that's when the snowball starts rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. And with those pink wards too, it makes Insect afraid to even go into the bottom side of the jungle. They drop 3 pinks and 2 greens. Like you're saying, just total control.
Yeah, let's get the replay up onto your screens. That really highlights and demonstrates just why this game was so one-sided. All of the vision you guys are talking about was sort of leading up around this point. Monty, talk us through this play.
Well, this is the point where this teleport needed to be used properly from Corn in the mid lane. But as we've noticed, White is just making plays on the teleport lanes. They're leaving Uzi alone because they know they can snowball so hard off of this. So let's watch and see how this plays out. Because what we're going to see is Looper. Now, Kola knows something's up right now, and he's actually going to be able to flash away from the knockup on Jarvan, which is pretty good. But the teleport starts so late right there, and there's no excuse for it. Corn was in the fountain at the start of that. Had that TP been a little bit earlier, this could have been an even trade for Starhorde, and they need to make that play. You make a decision to get that teleport, you have to make that play.
Now, I have a question for the two of you guys. You know, we're talking about the vision, talking about all the decision-making. Pre-10 minutes, Samsung White were 3 minutes ahead in terms of their planning and their thinking. They punished the flashes down. They tower dove more efficiently than I think I've ever seen. Is that just communication? Is that planning? Is that natural thinking?
See,
I mean,
the beauty in that play that Monty highlighted there, it doesn't matter when the TP comes in because White will react in unison together and they will make the right choice every single time. If they realize TP is going to stop them and Orielty can just screw them over on that dive, they'll just back off, but they know exactly what their limits are, they know exactly how many tower shots they can take, and they know exactly when to flash out. It's just a beauty to watch them play League.
Yeah, this game really illustrates how well Samsung White shot calls on the fly. When they see that double teleport, they know double TP generally is used to snowball your bottom lane and protect your bottom lane from ganks. So if Pawn was to go down, roam like you said he would, and go down for the 4-man gank with Dandy bottom lane, they can double TP and turn that gank around so easily. They abandoned bottom lane, even though that's like a really high priority player to shut down. They never ganked that lane and just abused the fact that they were down summoners in the solo lanes and just snowballed off of Corn and Kola.
And not only just the shot calling of, hey, what lanes do we go for, but the actual individual plays that we were talking about. We were talking about in the preview show as well, about a team has to kind of understand collectively, instinctually, what kind of plays work, what kind of dives work. There's no way they're saying, okay, guys, he's TPing, it'll be 3 seconds, okay, take 2 more shots. No, they all know their roles. They all know Pawn's going to show up, he's there in 10 seconds, he pinged it, he did whatever it took to make that communicated, right? You had Looper tanking exactly the right number of turret shots. He knows skill's going to come in. They're not, like, counting turret shots out loud. They all know their individual roles in this, unspoken, as a well-practiced team. And as you said, Double, if it's beautiful.
closing thoughts, Crepo, just before we move on?
Yeah, just watch Mara's player cam and how much he's talking. I wish I spoke Korean because I would be taking notes.
Yeah, fantastic demonstration from Samsung White. They've definitely showed up to play. It's going to be an uphill battle, even more so for Royal Club. Guys, throughout Worlds, we've been asking people to share how they've been enjoying the action by tweeting photos of viewing parties to us at LOL Esports using the hashtag Worlds. And we've got a couple who want to just show with you. First one from @PopstarPaki is ready to watch the action with a League of Legend Prolly. Next one is from @OESJinx. He says, this is how Worlds is at the Brisbane Mobar. And looks like a ton of people. Nice. And we'd like to give a shout out to the viewers around the world who are joining us via the Coke Zero viewing party and various other fan gatherings happening today. Coke has actually partnered with theaters, bringing the entire 2014 World Championship final audiences on the big screen in locations like Seattle, Washington, Dallas,
Even Antwerp.
Texas, Marseille,
Belgium.
France, even
Nice.
Antwerp, Belgium representing. We'll be checking in throughout the day for a peek at those experiences as fans react to the action happening here in Seoul. So, guys, we're going to see some of the fans at the cinema. I don't know.
Pâté.
You're going to have to help me
Pâté,
with this one.
yeah.
Pâté, thank you. In France, of course, they're looking pretty excited. Heading out Seoul. That's a massive queue, actually. Well done, guys. Make sure you grab a baguette or two for me. Have some cheese and sit back and enjoy the show. Guys, stay with us. The 2014 World Championship continues after this.
Oh, this is really bad. Form's come up from the mid lane as well. There was the teleport coming in. Korn, he may just be going down on this one.
That Blade of the Rune King is down, so they don't have too much more catch potential, but they do have Pawn coming down. What a shot! There he is from Pawn. Here comes the next two.
And they're doing whatever they want.
And it doesn't look like it's going to end in the bottom lane. They go right to the top on the other side. Or the flash of Cola, but that was the ult into the flag and drag.
팀을 처음 이긴 것 때문에 좀 이겼다는 생각밖에 안 들었고 4대0이 이제 점퍼를 얻었을 때는 그냥 제가 이제 4대0급의 선수가 된 것 같은 느낌이었어요. 결승에 의자에 걸어두고 하려고 했어요.
Everybody, as I am joined by one of our Season 1 World Champions, Fanatics, Expeke. Welcome to the table. We did notice that you were at the beginning at the opening ceremony and you got to overlook this wonderful stadium. What was that like?
Well, that was really cool that they actually allow us to go there. Even if we didn't do much, we got to live the player experience pretty much. I even got a bit nervous from feeling how it would be to play here and see all the stadium and see how it felt. And I was like, wow, it would be super great to actually be playing here.
Yeah, it was a great moment. Now, we just saw the first game of the series, Samsung White coming out so strong. What do you think StarHorn Royal Club can do going into game 2, just having seen what we've just seen?
Well, I think if the White is obviously the better team here. I think if they play a standard, they're just gonna lose all the games because their control of the map is incredible. How they get the wards so easily and how they protect their wards is so crazy. So Royal just have to try something new. Maybe try some picks that are more unusual, like Inset did before. Maybe try to really force the 2v2 and the 1v1 because in lane swaps, White is really good and will take all the advantage they can. If they just let White move around, I think they're not going to have a chance.
Well, in your perspective, these two teams are, of course, in the finals. What is your view on their path here? Are they the two very best teams in the tournament?
Well, I feel like White for sure is the best team in the tournament and is going to take it. And it didn't matter what way they were going to go, they were going to make it to the finals. But for Royal, it was a bit different. They were a good team, but I was doubting that they would make it. OMG started to play bad, for example. I thought OMG was going to make it to the finals. And in the semifinals, there were a few games that they were tilting or playing kind of bad, and that gave Royal the chance they needed to make it again.
All right, well, we will see how the rest of the series plays out. You, of course, are a Season 1 champion. What is your view on how everything has grown so exponentially on seeing all these passionate Korean fans here in the stadium?
If you went back and see the Season 1 videos, for example, you will be completely in shock compared to this. Like, we were playing on a small stage, and we had 20 viewers, 30 viewers behind us and around us. So this is just another level. This is what you dream of. Like, at those times, I would dream of this. Like, go to sleep and be one day, maybe it would be on a stadium or something like that, and couldn't even believe it.
Well, it's no longer a dream, it's reality. Thank you so much, Expeke. All right, the teams are ready for Champ Select, so let's hand the reins over to the guys at the caster desk.
Thank you very much, Jacques. And we do want to remind everyone to stick around once the Summoners Cup has been hoisted for our closing ceremonies that will feature an encore performance by Imagine Dragons, fireworks, and more. We also have a special post-game show where we'll be bringing you player interviews along with a breakdown of all the action, which we just absolutely saw quite a bit of going on in that first game.
Yeah, there was just a very fast game. And I'm going to sound like a broken record here talking about how fast Samsung White plays, but it really is a wonder to watch with how quickly they're able to execute this match.
And now let's get back into the action with Game 2 between Samsung White and StarHorn Royal Club, almost getting into Champion Select soon. That first game, you know, we talked a lot about, for those viewers that kind of just came in and haven't watched much of the finals or any of the group stages with Royal Club in it, there's a lot of talk about communication. But we've seen every team fall to White in almost the same way. They don't have time to communicate, so when they do, it is going to be hard for them because it is in different languages. So they have a lot stacked up against them.
The odds are massively against them. I mean, we saw it in game number 1, how Samsung White can play when they're really on top of the game. I said it before at the end of the last one that I think that Royal Club has to do something a little bit special. You'd imagine if you're coming into this final knowing how Samsung White play, that you'd have prepared something a little bit special. Now's the time to bring it out, because going 2-0 down and having to win 3 games in a row to a team that's only lost 1 game over the entire World Championship.
Crazy.
Tough call.
Yeah, I do think if we're getting into the nitty-gritty here, Lucian is still the most important ban for White. It will be banned the entire series because that is the prototypical counter that StarHorn Royal Club has used to get out of lane swap scenarios. They fast push lane with Lucian, who can do it faster than anyone else. Of course, they're going to ban it here. The other question, though, and really the weakness here, is that Royal Club is forced into banning Alistair and Zillion again on this purple side. So they're really out of bans, and that leaves out the Rengar.
Yeah, and it's an easy first pick. Dandy pretty much saved this one, coming all the way through to the semi-finals. If you look at the bans of Rengar against them, there's just not that many there. In fact, there's only one ban that was actually put against them up until that one. So really, really, I think, difficult to say you leave the Rengar open. I mean, Lee Sin's gone, Rengar, so it leaves really Kha'Zix, or is it one of those pocket picks
Fiddlesticks,
now for Insect?
Pantheon are the things you can go for. The benefit of giving them Rengar is they can at least take something away, they hope, from Samsung White. I don't actually think Royal Club wants to pick Twitch because they're not that good at lane swap situations, so why would they want to be the team with the emphasis on lane swapping? But honestly, giving it to Samsung White seems like just as much of a death sentence.
A lot of things that can happen here now that Mata gets his Janna, Imp back on Twitch. Super comfort picks for them, and we actually see Royal Club trying to play a few of the cards that White has brought. No plays yet for Korn on that Jace, but he's going to try his hand here, see what he can do.
I think almost irregardless of how well Korn performs on Jace or whether he has mastery of the champion, that pick allows them to play Corki, because they couldn't realistically play Corki in the last match, since it would have given them 3 primary magic damage dealers, with Orianna and Ryze already being in the solo lanes. So when you pick Corki, you almost have to pick an attack damage focused mid lane. Now they can do that. They can play this game more aggressively and not be on the back foot the entire time. That's the hope, at least.
Looks like they might be up against another attack damage mid laner though. Pornia, you know, he's the guy that's really shone for me so far with this Jace pick. And he's been hovering over Talon here quite a few times already after they saw that after they saw the Jace being pulled out. Rumble looking like that could land in the top lane for Looper. So let's see if those two get locked in. But for me, hard to call then. What is Kohler going to be bringing to the top lane?
I think that's a really big question, because his champion pool has been really small for most of this. Mundo has been one champion that he's been successful on, but honestly, that would just allow so much farm for a Rumble if they actually lane against each other. They're up against a very, very tough, difficult wall to be up against with how much White has right here in terms of damage.
We talked a little bit about that, the size of these champion pools, and that White, the top laners, 9-5 in that sense. 9 for Looper, 5 played here at Worlds coming in for Kola. He's going to take the Mundo this time. They're going to go for the big guy with the business in the top lane, but it's going to be a tough matchup all around for them again with those 3 strong picks. Pawn bringing out talent for the first time here. It's going to be quite interesting.
And you can't let Dandy get started as well as he did in the last game, in game number 2, because Rengar is going to be even more of a terror coming into this game if that happens for him. You know, in that last game didn't pick up all that many kills. He was more of an assisting AD carry, but he got so many starters that Pawn just sniped off for the kills.
It was an absolutely exquisite performance by Samsung White. Dandy had the first 3 kills of the game and then assisted on the next kill. If you're Starhorn Royal Club right now, you have a little bit more diversity in your champion select here. Aside from the top lane pick, they have decent amounts of mid-game power, but they are kind of hurt there by the fact that they ran out of champions in the top lane, because Mundo won't have that giant mid-game power spike that they need to actually try and punish Samsung White. It's going to be a really hard game for them once again, but it is only due to the absurdly good champion pools and pick ban phase of Samsung White.
Absolutely. We're going to see what happens coming into the second game here. The champs are locked in, so pop over to Twitter. Tell us who you think will come out ahead. Use the hashtag SSWWin or SHRWin and send us your answers to @LOL Esports. It's going to be a good one as we start this off. We'll see if the aggression continues again from Samsung White. Has to be matched coming in from Starhorn Royal Club this time. They can't afford to fall behind, but they do have a bit of, like you said, Jat, the mid-game comp to come through. Hopefully, we can see Korn getting through safe and not just getting dove over and over in that top lane to stop Mundo.
Well, we're going to find out. We're into game number 2. Samsung White 1-0 up here over Starhorn Royal Club. Could this be World Championship point for them? Still a little way to go, but you have to feel that road is longer for Starhorn Royal Club and probably has a lot more twisty bends in it as well, because this one going to be very hard to turn around. But let's see what they can do this time taking away that Jace from Pawn might be a big factor.
And it all starts at level 1. Where will they see the wards? Where will they see the enemy position? The very first bit of knowledge that Samsung White has is they saw where Insec was on the map. That's all they know right now, but they're just pinged down once again. They saw Corki. Where will they make the move? Because Samsung White is pretty much always the aggressors at level 1, and Royal Club just kind of wants to withstand that right now.
Well, hopefully they can. White, as we said before, grows a lead extremely fast once they even have a few hundred gold to somebody in their pocket. Really happening last game off that first initial kill of Dandy and 3 assists from mid to the bottom lane. So he didn't have to help too much. He could just keep roaming and keep creating problems. White gathering together with quite a few pings here. They figure where the wards are across that line of scrimmage right down river. They've been placed quite well by Royal Club, so everybody should be able to stay safe here, but that doesn't mean they're not just going to run into each other.
And you also feel at this stage that people are expecting Samsung White to doing something in level 1 play. And actually a normal level 1 might throw Royal Club off more than that crazy level 1 start that we've been seeing from them time and time again. At this point, Dandy, Looper, and Mata on the bottom side, along with Imp. For Royal Club, though, it looks like they fancy this invade over onto the blue buff, or at least to get some vision down.
But once again, Royal Club walks over a ward with all 5 team members. This is leaving a free lane for Imp to go and freeze properly on Twitch, and we'll now see if Royal Club will fast push their own lane. It's how they usually react to lane swaps. However, they're the ones that basically got spotted, and White gets to react.
We'll see if Royal Club can get that turret down and get the swap back to normal here as they like to play. Imp with that farm down in the bottom lane, obviously slowing it down, so we'll see them behind a bit. But yeah, Royal Club pushing it as much as they can to this freeze in the bottom lane. See what happens with the junglers. We do now have them running around with the top laners this time, but that really doesn't affect Dandy too much. Looper still going to be able to come out big at level 6 for the Dragon, for the objective, something White and Royal both love to take.
We also have seen when Royal Club get put into these 2 versus 1, or when they initiate them themselves, they love almost exclusively to fast push those initial towers down so that they can get out of that lane swap as quickly as possible.
Yeah, because what we're going to be seeing right now is Mata roaming around the map as much as possible. It puts a lot of danger in many different situations here for Starhorn Royal Club. I think specifically the mid lane is a point of much contention. That's where we'll probably end up seeing the first bit of action in this match.
Well, we've seen it happen before. Korn has to be very careful. We do see that Mata is down there right now with Dandy, so that roam is already going to begin for them. Getting a ward right over to make sure nobody else is coming. They know Imp is going to stay safe, so they can leave him here if they want to, but we also see that safety of Zero. Royal Club is trying to get in the heads of White as much as they were in the heads of Royal Club in game 1.
I mean, Zero has been waiting in that mid lane for so long, expecting the aggression from Samsung White, and Samsung White just didn't bring it out. No. They knew he was missing because if Royal Club normally fast pushes, you need a support there to help fast push. So all that has to happen is one little tell, and Samsung White is able to react accordingly. They do not get aggressive in the mid lane. A little bit of CS is given to Korn, which would be very beneficial, but in the end, not a big win for Royal Club.
And we see once again the turret taking quite a bit of damage on the top side of the map. One thing we also have to factor in, the double surprise jump out, I guess we can really call it, with with Rengar jumping at you there, with Imp there on Twitch, and Dandy himself has stayed in this jungle for quite a while, going to be trying to hit that level 6 point as quickly as he possibly can, and honestly right now they could probably take a free dragon if they wanted to.
Specifically, the Madrid's Razor was what he rushed. He took a huge amount of CS in their double jungle, not really giving any over to Looper so he could get his Madrid's Razor as soon as possible. And since Samsung White is the team that had Twitch in the bottom lane, it has allowed them to get more control around the Dragon area. There is a smart swap back here by Royal Club, putting Uzi in the bottom lane for a potential Dragon contest, but the vision control is lost for them in the most important part of the map at the moment.
We'll see if Dandy can get that head of Kha'Zix coming out this game, or even the other way around for Insec. They do see Uzi in the bottom lane, so they'll be expecting Zero quite soon. Royal Club getting what they want as fast as possible. The top turret did not go down, but they will be trying to catch up on a bit of CS here.
So I actually really like what Royal Club did in this particular situation. Even though they're swapping into where a lot of wards are, they have made Samsung White react to them for pretty much the first time this entire series. Once Imp started pushing, they swapped back, so they've actually trapped Twitch into a lane where he is much weaker to the Corki, who has a health crystal and a longsword at the moment.
They actually just saw that Jace was going to be pulling back there. Insect waiting on this top side to try and get in onto Looper, but in case of if you can really lock him down there, of course Flash not being burnt really by anyone at this stage of things. And Looper really checking those brushes, and we'll see if he face checks here right into Insect, spots him with the harpoon.
What Royal Club is trying to do right now is they're actually playing a substantially more defensive game than they did in the first one. They're trying to preempt the Dandy turret dives, but like always, Samsung White is kind of one step ahead because Dandy is happily just farming the jungle. There's that bottom lane aggression though.
Played to Mata, but the hook went to Imp. Is that the death sentence they need to start it? Mata's able to kind of stave this off. Imp taking some damage, but they will be safe throughout this lane so far. Uzi and Zero, they lost on that one in health.
And they lost the exhaust too, which is huge if we get another all-in. Exhausting someone and then Janus shielding them, if you're Mata, will turn around some really bad-looking situation. Royal Club has to be so careful now, actually, if they go for another all-in.
And Impia starting with that Vamp Scepter, going to make sure that he can get the health back at 0. Going to take a bit of damage there from him, just trying to force them away. And look at this, the roam, 7 minutes in from Pawn. He comes down, but there's a ward there that spots him out.
Just dying off a few seconds later, and it would have been a great gank towards the bottom lane, but you can see that White is already trying to take an advantage here. Taking advantage of that exhaust being down, as we said, and the ability to keep the aggression going up. Inside of mana, he's forced back on this one, and we saw maybe the first kill. Heal is used on that. The exhaust is still held for any kind of engagement after this, but great aggression from Royal Club.
This is the danger of a 2v2 lane against Uzi on a mid-game AD carry. It's the one place where we thought Royal Club could hold an edge, and because of the way they actually played that fast push fake out early on in the game, they manipulated the lanes to get that matchup, and Samsung White didn't want to give that up because they would end up losing the Dragon. However, the rest of Samsung White, the top laner, mid laner, and jungler are operating on very potent mid-game power spikes. Dandy is level 6, Looper will soon be level 6, and Pawn is looking for his first assassination. If Royal Club could somehow withstand this power spike, they have a chance of winning, but that's a tall task.
Yeah, White were looking for it in the top lane, but Kohler wisely decided to back away, starting off with that Negatron cloak to give him as much strength against Looper's Rumble as possible. Meanwhile, Dandy stealing the red buff there for Samsung White. So that's a nice little pickup. Couple of deep wards, including the one in the tri-bush. So they got full vision right now over that top side of the map. For them, though, Insec is actually down on the bottom side of the map and is just recalled. So as he hits that level 6, we'll just evolve that spike rack. We'll see exactly where he decides to go next. For Uzi and Zero, bottom lane going decently for them. We saw them forcing Imp and Mata to back away with the use of summoner spells as well, so expect Imp and Mata here to just play a little bit more cautiously.
You can see a lot better control coming from that lane, easily clearing out pink wards that would be affecting them. They're able to place their own to stay safe in this. They won't be losing the first Dragon of the game that easily. They'll definitely be able to contest it, but it will be tough. We do know that Rumble Equalizer is something to be reckoned with down at the Dragon, but they do have Jace this time, which has been a huge factor in controlling objectives as well.
And that'll be really critical if Samsung White tries to force a Dragon objective. However, their team fight potential in that area is so immense. I do have to point out, though, considering how devastating Samsung White has been and how slow starting Starhorn Royal Club has really been, especially with the mindset advantage we thought Samsung White would have after obliterating Royal Club in that first game. This open from Starhorn Royal Club is really, really impressive. They have a 500 gold lead. They have the lanes they've actually desired, and they're just hoping to avoid these mid-game Rengar ganks. If they can do that, they have a great chance of winning.
It's almost a mirror image of what they did. It was Lucian for Uzi that game to OMG. In game 2, they had a great bottom lane start with aggression that maybe staved here a little Oh, by Dandy. I don't think he's going to do anything with it just yet. They're waiting for Insec. He comes in. The level 6 is actually used to trying it out. Dandy may have bitten off more than he can chew on this one. He's forced to get out. Doesn't want to get the red buff over. There's the teleport. There's the red carpet laid out. But it's first blood going over to Uzi. That's a second one for Cola. Insec will fall. Pawn coming in. Tries to get Talon out the end. He's going to try and get that cutthroat down. And he does get a good cut. That goes over onto Uzi. But it's going to be Korn. Can he start to clean things up? They continue the fight.
Dandy very low from this one. Looper also going low. They're scared that Cola will go down. Turn! Whoa! Gets himself caught. They're going to kill Cola, who will take one with him. And just like that, everyone going down across the map. It's only Looper that manages to survive it.
What an absolute bloodbath that was, and if not for some spectacular play by Looper, that would have fallen in Royal Club's favor. So the way this started was Insec preempting Dandy. That almost never happens. Dandy was forced to jump on Insec. Teleports coming about the same time. The only thing that White had as an advantage in this fight was the fact that Pawn roamed down faster than Jace did. It is absolute chaos, which honestly is not good for Samsung White. This is the game that Royal Club lives for. They want brawls like this because given enough iteration and enough times of these fights, they will come out on top. It didn't happen this time, but it was close. They didn't actually lose much in this fight, save for a 5-for-4. Getting 4 kills at this point in the game is great for Royal Club.
Oh, Dandy trying to get in there for the heal, but not quite getting close enough. And look at this after that mess. It's Royal Club that will actually be moving first of all towards the Dragon Pit, will take it and give themselves a lead, a slim lead, but a lead nonetheless.
I kind of need to think of a metaphor right here because Samsung White is so fast. It's like a bunch of rabbits running around. What do you want to do if you actually want to fight them in a good spot? You just pile on and put everyone in the same space. If you can't communicate or move as fast as the other team, you want 5v5 team fights again and again and again, because then you can rely on your instinct. It's what has gotten Starhorn Royal Club to the finals, and is what they have actually forced a little bit in this game. A very slight goal lead at 12 minutes is really impressive when you consider what monstrous underdogs Royal Club are right now.
That fight provided a lot for everyone around the map in terms of items. Spirit Visage going over to Mundo. Cole is going to be able to get up on health quite fast once he throws that ultimate on, but Looper sitting on that Haunting Guise along with the Sork Boots. Pawn wants to get in with that ultimate once again. Those very low-timed ultis. Cola already throws it off. He's just looking for the speed now as he's full health. Hit the turret, guys. You're taking a lot of damage. Pawn may actually go down in this. Flashes back as Looper does take to the turret. Throws down the equalizer for the slow. Cola's going to pick up a kill. They do take down Korn as he comes in a little late. And that was an ill-advised fight to continue with for Royal Club.
Dandy's timing was just right. The dive itself was a little sloppy by Pawn standards, and it's what ended up costing him his life, but Dandy jumped in to save the day. 2, 1, and 4, Rengar might be getting a little bit scary.
Looper is already scary though. 4-0-3, up 25 CS. Haunting Guys got his Sorcerer Shoes, and now him and Mata are going to look for something down the bottom. Can they catch one out? Howling Gale will land onto Zero, but Uzi and Zero turn this one around. Exhaust has been exchanged. He's put the exhaust onto the support, and Imp's going to try and clean up from this one. Zero will surely fall. Uzi should be able to get away, but it's a kill for him.
What an ult by Mata right there to completely split Imp and Uzi away. They tried to get a little bit aggressive, but Mata was waiting with the exhaust and the Monsoon. It was not canceled. He got everything out. Dandy, though, goes a little far. Let's see what happens.
That's the Storm Shield coming in from Mata. They walked right over a pink ward. They thought they had time. They saw it. They just wanted the aggression. They wanted to deny buffs. They may actually come up with it on this one, knowing they're clearing out one pick here. They're biding their time, but they don't know Imp is right there, sneakily coming out. Dandy enters the brush to get himself the jump, and Imp's gonna finalize the kill on Pawn, who just came back from base.
Korn cannot miss those shock blasts if they want a chance here. Samsung White is finding the skirmishes. Every fight here, they are up in men. After having that fight in the bottom lane, they are just now moving around as quickly as they can and catching catching Royal Club before a brawl can emerge.
Yeah, going to be getting that middle outer turret, looking for the bottom outer turret as well. They were waiting a while for the minions to come in, which will move on to it, but I think Uzi will be back in time to make sure that this one stays alive, at least for now. And if you look at the gold, it's taken a considerable swing just like that for Samsung White. Now up 2,700 gold, 9-5 in kills. As I said, they're all fed at this point to Looper, who in the quarterfinal in particular looked absolutely brilliant. Looked like a different player to what we've been used to seeing from Looper.
Crazy.
And he can show that he can play pretty much anything. His Akali, he just broke out in game 1 of the semifinals in what were the biggest games of their lives at that point. Now they are again in an even bigger game, and he's just not falling down when the moment counts. He's stepping up in just the right way. Leandri's rush against Amundo is just the right item that he wants, and if the next Dragon is to happen, Royal Club can only hope that Looper doesn't have a beautiful equalizer.
Triforce finished up by Uzi. He can help accent the damage Korn is doing from long range here. Everybody else looking to dive into the fight, so we'll see if a little bit of poke and catch here comes from Starhorn Royal Club within the next few minutes. Definitely having a better game than game 1. 9-5, they're only down by about 3,000 gold here. Imp will get caught, but not much is going to happen on this one. They have the ability to clear that ward out, but for now, they want to get the lane push. They want the pressure. They know there might be Insect on the backside here. He's going to be careful. Got to be careful.
Unfortunately, he walked through a ward, and a counter gank of counter ganks could be readily approaching. Talon is hard pushing the mid lane right now to force Royal Club into hopefully a quick decision. A Rumble would have been there for a counter gank, but just like usual, Samsung White adjusts even faster. They're fast pushing the mid lane, and they're again forcing Royal Club into very reactionary style of play, where White is one step ahead.
You're out there from Mata. Nope, they're diving on Korn in the mid lane, and he's, I'm afraid, dead from that. There is Insect, though. What can he do? Surely we'll be able to finish off Korn. He's actually just left the invisibility. Whoa, they go down! Mata comes in, Howling Gale into a Monsoon to knock him back, give the heal, and somehow they get 2 kills, and Pawn should have died.
Insect thought he already had the kill. He was trying to double up. It ends up costing them and his own life. The red buff, I think he thought maybe the Lizard Elder burn would finish the kill. Never trust the burn. Always finish the kill. Mata may always be waiting in the wings. He stops him right there with the shield, allows the damage to turn around.
Imp taking a little too much here. He will go down. Mata can't get to every lane that fast, even with mobility boots on Janna. He is playing pretty godlike with those ultimates, but you still have to fend for yourself, and Imp cannot in that situation. Mata still looking to get some wards out. See this one more time in the mid lane. Instant Shadow Assault from Pawn, and the invisibility from Dandy as well.
He flashes in to get the root when Korn was exposed because the minion wave was getting there. He didn't want that to block, but Pawn unfortunately took Turd Dagger, which wasn't a plan, which is why that went bad. But with red buff and a Lizard Elder, Insect thought for sure Pawn was going to go out.
Wow.
But Mata uses his flash to get just into range. What a save. However, Royal Club knows the Twitch is dead. That timely kill was really bad for White. However, here comes the Rumble. Teleport with Leandri's in just the right spot. This is dangerous.
Dragon down to half. Looper coming around the side. He'll force Uzi first out. There is Pawn as well. Can they finish him off? The burn is not.
Oh my gosh!
Equalizer comes down. Looper unstoppable. They've killed off Insect there at the back, and it's not over yet. They will hook in Mata, but Pawn is still there. Here comes Dandy leaping into the back. But can they lock down? Now Looper joining in from the side. He's going under the tower, and he manages to dominate, taking out Korn as well. Amazing, they get in the tower on top.
It just goes from bad to worse for Starhorn Royal Club. Amongst all of that, Dandy stole the dragon, so anything that Royal Club could have hoped to get out of that is just evaporated.
The Prince of Thieves continues his name and keeps that title. We're going to see this one more time. A great push out on Uzi, and they do what they have to in the Dragon Pit.
Yeah, you know you're ahead when Rumble can assassinate one low health target with Equalizer and it have no impact on the fight. Samsung White dropped at just the right moment. They knew that Royal Club put a little bit too much investment into the Dragon, then they stole it away, and now it's just ugly.
This is where they keep pressuring forward. It's going to be the bleed, but it will not take down Uzi, but that means they lose more pressure in the bottom lane now. Both are top, as we see. That's Insect and Cola. They can't provide anything down here. It's going to be a long run. Wards are already being set up by Samsung White, and they're going to be able to stop whatever Royal Club tries to bring to this bottom lane.
Yeah, just think, a mere 7 minutes ago, Royal Club had a 500 gold lead. They're now down 7,000 gold pretty much.
Yep, no,
Will
absolutely.
be in a few seconds. And they have again assumed complete control of the map. They had that mid-game power. They knew who was strong on their team. Looper. They knew that Dandy could find the right ganks. That's why he is so threatening on Rengar. They have just executed on all of their strong points, even though Starhorn Royal Club did manipulate the lanes very well and honestly played the first 12 minutes about as well as they could. It's just not enough because Samsung White continues to play the full game, or up until about 29 minutes, because by that point they usually end it.
Looking to make plays in the top lane now. A very nice sweeper used to clear out the ward. Dandy, they may not know he's there, but they know Looper was trying to get into that position. So they're just going to hang out on this one. Clearing wards, getting more vision. In the next play, Samsung White works with very big windows that they want to fight in, and they're usually in that window all the time. 4 turrets to 0 right now. Complete map control means Royal Club's jungle is theirs.
Yeah, complete strangulation on the top side of the map right now. You can see that most of those wards actually are pink wards put down by Samsung White, including on the front side of the Baron. Their items getting a little bit out of control. You know, we saw Imp earlier on losing his life as he bit off a little bit too much in the bottom lane, but now Blade of the Ruin King. He's going to have his Ghost Blade done pretty soon. In the mid lane, you've already got the Ghost Blade for Pawn on top of the Ravenous Hydra. The Zhonya's Hourglass has actually just been finished by a 6-0-3 Looper, so he can afford to go even more aggressive. We saw him already flashing under the tower for the extra kill at the end of the last one.
I mean, even though Cola has 4 kills on Dr. Mundo, Cola is still 1,400 gold behind Looper in this game. It is an absolute runaway by Looper's Rumble, and Dandy doesn't even care about that word. This is a little bit much to try and get down.
Looking to take a bite out of Cola right here. He doesn't have much to run on except for that equalizer. He has to turn tide. Insect's going to put himself in the fight here, but I don't know if he can handle this 2v2. Uzi and Zero coming up on the outside. Insect's got the burn on. Looks like he'll stay alive from that one. Pawn comes in with the exhaust on him, but they're going to be able to at least finalize 1 kill here. That's going on to Zero. 2 bleeding and blinking red on Cola and Insect, so they're not able to rebuttal the fight at all.
And like moths to a light, what would it be, moth to a flame?
Yes.
Samsung White makes it any time a fight is about to approach. Again,
the window's always open.
Korn was slow to that rotation. Pawn beat him there, and Samsung White takes down yet another Baron because everyone gets pushed away. 22 minutes only, they secure it.
Baron down the shock blast through the acceleration gate of Korn. Not in the right place at the right time. And, you know, it's one thing to take away the Jace from Pawn, but if you end up 0-5-3 on it at this stage of the game, yes, you've taken it away, but you now have that Talon over on the other side. 200 CS, 9 assists to his name. They let Rengar through, which Dandy has done a fantastic job on so far, and Imp, he's only getting stronger. 4-2-3, we've seen already time and time again, sometimes to his detriment, we have to say. He's not scared to get in there and try and have that one-on-one with, I think, pretty much anyone on the side of Royal Club now.
You talk about that CS onto Pawn. We saw him doing the same thing to Dade, somebody who had a mental block against, and they were never able to beat. Same thing, up 20, 40 CS at times in the game, helping to control, making it easier for Dandy to get in the face of the opponents, and once again, the entire team is now available to do that. Baron buff circling around them for another 3 minutes. Uzi in the top lane, he lays down a bit of fire on the ground, but he's gonna have to go over the equalizer flame to get there, taking too much damage. Imp finalizes that one. They're going to pressure the top lane. The wave actually quite far away, so they're going to go back into the jungle before they can reset this.
And we see time and time again, nowhere is safe to farm. With all of the stealth assault that Samsung White can put out, not only do they have good pink ward control, they come into the lane through the minions when they're invisible. So it's a little bit harder to farm on top of that one. And even if Imp does have a penchant for getting a little bit over-aggressive sometimes, his team will always back him up. They collapse so quickly, 5-2, everyone participating, another turret goes down.
And that will leave them over 10,000 gold now in the lead. Just 24 minutes into this one. The only inner turret left standing is on the bottom side of the map, where Pawn has been constantly pressuring, making sure that those minion waves don't go through. Imp might be in no man's land, but Insect is there with him as well. In fact, he will force the ultimate and the leap away. The poison not quite enough to actually finish him off, but it'll be enough to force them back and just leave them with their base left standing.
Turret happy hour right now for Samsung White as they make their way around. Royal Club can't even enter their own jungle to get wards down to make sure those turrets are safe. Even harder to be guarded as this second tier turret. Looks like they can't even get to this dragon either. The gold lead just surmounting right now for White. Looking at 13,000, 16-7, and the waves, as we said, are flooding towards Royal Club. They have not been able to grab a turret yet.
It's going to be tough for them to try and stall this one out, because that's kind of all they would hope for in this situation, is that Corn could get enough wave clear that Jason Mundo could be a late game powerhouse. However, I mean, it was just half a game ago, around 12 minutes, that Star and Royal Club had a gold lead. That's how quickly this game has devolved into a Samsung White resounding victory. They're now 13,000 gold ahead. I can't believe how fast Dandy has stacked up his Pharaoh Flare, actually. He's at 17 stacks after his transformation already. It's just absolutely absurd. He is all over the map, but that is just like everyone else on Samsung White. They have the Janna with Captain Boots to make things just a little bit quicker, and do not expect them to let off the gas pedal.
That Mage Eyes as well, stacking up there from Mato. We've seen that quite a few times throughout the tournament on Janna's. He's going to be assisting that much more as he gets possibly 20 in the cooldowns for him to keep peeling and keep helping. 3 of those blades finished up now, and it looks like they're going to be using those to continue pushing Royal Club into their base. White has hit such power spikes in their items that Royal Club can't even look at these fights anymore.
No, and the level difference at this stage is just absolutely massive. I mean, all levels between the two mid laners there. You see Uzi having to fly away. He's 2 levels behind that of him. Top lane, there's a couple of levels difference, and White are going to walk in there. They're probably going to dive into Insect. That'll be the first target. Equalizer goes down. Cola's already at half, but they want the squishies first. Zero's going down. Cola, he's still in the mix, but will he get away from it? There is him going mad at the back. He will get another one, and that's 4 men down just like that.
And right now, Samsung White is trying to make this the fastest world final average game time in history. They are well on pace to do that. They should end the game on this push because nobody died and 4 members are down for Royal Club.
Staying true to the sub 30-minute games on this one. Cola doing what he can, but as Freak says, he falls flat in that situation, and it's going to be the second Nexus turret going down. They're looking to make this one a 27-minute victory with this say, wait a minute, we're low. There could be resets coming in for Insect. We have to reset and play this safe.
Well, Insect did enough there to actually back off, did he? He's going to come in, Pawn flashes over as well, and they pick up another kill, and we'll just back off saying, okay, we need to protect the top tower. Let's not lose any towers in this one. Lupa will use his teleport to go all the way back and keep that tower alive.
May as well. You got to keep all your buildings alive. They win and lose as a team. The blue side of the map is helping them in this one with all those turrets. Honestly, they are so far ahead. They dive so well. This is now a 19,000 gold lead, nearing the largest gold lead in a World Finals history. Let's check this out again. Just Dandy popping his ult for the instant he goes stealth. He gets the leap and instant stun on Insect. They don't let him get stealth because of the pink ward. It's just everyone already knows what they're going to do before they do it. Mata is talking so much, but honestly, I believe it's more than that. It's complete instinct and trust in everyone else on the team. They are so confident right now, and why would they not be? They were, like I said earlier, they were in the group with the #1 team from China. The quarterfinals, they 3-1'd, which was their one slight step up, the #1 team in North America. Yeah. Their longtime rival, Samsung Blue, they beat faster than they have ever beaten them before. They completely demolished them in 3 games. One of the most one-sided best-of-5s in League of Legends history against a team that was supposed to take them down, the #1 seed from Korea. It makes sense that they are dominating Starhorn Royal Club as well on the biggest stage ever for League of Legends. It's almost like a tribute to Samsung White right now. They are so good.
A tribute that they have written and they're playing right now. 40 seconds on the Baron. Don't even know if they're going to need to go back for this one. And it looks like the final push may be had here. Kills going on to Royal Club. It could be Uzi going down. He's forced to use Summoner Heal. One last shot and the Venom takes him down. Insect falls just as fast right after Uzi. That's 4 instant kills. Cola only living because he has the HP to do so. And the Nexus, having less than him, is going to go down quite fast. They keep it under 30 minutes. The final hits call it 29-12 on the clock. Game 2 to White. Game point for the 2014 World Championship.
And really, World Championship point is upcoming. 3 more games for Samsung White. They just have to win one of them. And it doesn't seem like they are too worried about that next one. However, we've seen so many best-of-5s in the past, you can never call it over after 2 matches. However, both these matches are sub 30 minutes, and This time, they actually looked a little bit challenged for the first 12 minutes by Starhorn Royal Club, but after that, it's like they flipped a switch and turned it on.
Yeah, and if you look, I mean, the scoreboard at the end telling you big tail there. You can see the laugh on Uzi's face, and I think a lot of teams have maybe felt this one kind of helplessness maybe against Samsung White. You try two different strategies in there. Yes, this one has definitely started off better for them, but ended up going exactly the same way. Looper, I have to mention, it went massive again this game. 7-0-10 on Rumble. Just, you couldn't control him by then. I mean, when you fall 4 levels up as well by the end of it, you got your level 3 ultimate, you're kind of in a good place.
And I really like the point you made against teams just not knowing what to do, a sense of helplessness. They're just constantly trying to dodge these fastballs that are going thrown again and again right at their faces, but it's not like after you dodge one, the next one comes any slower. It just gives them more information where you are and how you can't dodge it, and they'll hit you eventually. And it's never giving another team a chance to get aggressive. That's what's so impressive.
Well, seemingly impossible to play against somebody who's in your head, knowing what you're going to do 4 steps before you do it. Those are the plays White is making, and it's been shown against every team. They can't possibly go ahead and look at every game and figure out this is what they're going to do every second of every game, but they adapt instantly throughout each one, and it's amazing to see because it is nearly flawless.
And that's the thing, right? Coming into the third and possibly final game, if the first two are anything to go by, Royal Club, again, they have to have control early on. They can't obviously afford to let that one go, but they have to also, I think, hope that Samsung White get too confident here, that they go too showboaty and end up making mistakes.
I know, and if there's ever a stage to show off on, right, it's the World Final stage. There's 40,000 fans here, millions watching online. They deserve it. They deserve this World Championship more than anyone, but it's one game away, and they have to keep focused on the game at hand.
Well, we're going to keep focused as well, but for now, we're going to send it over to Quickshot and the guys for more insight into Samsung White's 2-0 start to the championship series.
Thank you very much, guys. As you can hear in the venue, we're having a lot of fun, and wow, what a performance from Samsung White. Coming out the gates, really swinging once more. Again, destroying Royal Club. Let's get straight to the team comps. Rengar, Rumble, Talon. Let's pull the graphic up, and Krepa, maybe talk to me about some of the picks and bans and a slightly different approach by Royal Club, but it wasn't enough.
I actually like what Royal Club did here. They had a good late game component in Mundo, Kha'Zix. They didn't fall too far behind early. Their picks scale well into all phases of the game. I like Corki into Twitch. I like Thresh. Offers engage. Actually, coming into this, if I had to choose a comp that I would like to see win, it is Royals, but then you have White just playing so damn brilliant.
Yeah, and the thing we have to remember here, too, is that really, if you're going to be Royal Club, what you're looking for is to hit the power spike about probably 18 minutes when you start getting that Trinity Force, and you get a core item or two onto Jace as well. So your sweet spot's going to be probably like 18 to 23 minutes. That's when you have to start grouping and then sieging very aggressively against the low wave clear. But what White did is they stalled out and skirmished with their composition and made it never possible for them to actually group on a tower.
The problem with this, though, is that Corrin on Jace made no sense to me because it's a champion he hasn't played at Worlds. To my knowledge, hadn't played it all split in summer either. I was questioning his champion pool, but his Jace was honestly pretty abysmal. Late to fights, you saw him misplay fights on the bottom lane, get dived on repeatedly, and not know how to play around it. And if he had been an uncomfortable champion, like they banned his own Rise, and then he first picked the champion he doesn't play instead of getting that Rise something himself. Like, that was very odd to me, and it showed that he was uncomfortable.
Yeah, it really showed that Royal was unprepared for Rengar and Rumble, which is really strange because you should know that Looper and Dandy will play Rengar and Rumble. Those are hard initiates into a poke comp. So picking a full poke comp with that Jace, Kha'Zix, Mundo, Corki doesn't make too much sense. Rumble and Rengar will just jump your face and kill you because you have low base stats.
I want to bounce off that point, though. While he wasn't the most impressive Jace, it did allow him to at least keep mid lane, even if not push it first, and that actually kept Palm back. Palm couldn't roam until he was actually like 15 minutes into the game, or just at least push and put the pressure on the map. So in that point, the Jace did work out, but sadly, if you're not proficient at champion, Samsung White will abuse that like as much as they can.
Before we get to that 15-minute roaming and pushing and moving around the map, we've got a replay that was super chaotic in the bottom lane. It actually wasn't too terrible for Royal Club, despite it being a 5v4. Krepa, you felt quite strongly about how this started.
Yeah, so first thing I want to highlight is Samsung White, they still make mistakes, but what the beauty of their play is that how they react to mistakes immediately and how they don't get phased by it at all. And this is going to be a long replay, so I'll start it out, and then I'm going to need some help from you guys because I can't cover all this. But yeah, basically it starts out with Zero just engaging this straight, reaction from Imp coming in as well. And then, yeah, the TPs come in. The thing is, Dandy could have actually went a lot earlier, but he respected Insect. Mata's trying to survive, but this hook from Zero, that misses, and that bodes really badly for Royal Club.
Well, his setup on the equalizer there was nearly perfect as well, because you see it splits Insect and Cola off from Zero and Uzi, so it makes it a lot easier to focus just one of them down. And here we have Pawn getting in with his ultimate, dealing a bunch of damage right there, gets the exhaust off onto Uzi as well. And then as this fight ends up, Looper...
It's a bad flash. That's what I mean. Yeah, the bad flash, but he reacts so well.
Actually, if Looper didn't flash in right there to greedily try to go for the kills, he could have slowed down Korn's entry into the fight. And now at this point, Sarhan Royal Club just has to pick a target. They get so greedy here. Korn goes for Looper, but Cola's off getting zoned or trying to finish off Dandy, and then Looper just turns around and smacks Korn in the face.
Yeah, and that's what I meant about Korn. Like, he's staying there, like, not playing the range deal, not waiting for another QE to come out and anything like this, and honestly just absolutely misplays that fight against Rumble that would have won them a 5 for 3 instead of a 4 for 5.
Yeah, and I got a bit thrown off guard at the start because the start of this fight highlights the decision-making we could have had. Wenger was camping in that bush and try. He used his ulti, he saw Kha'Zix's approach, and then he hesitated for a second. And it's rare that we see Danny hesitate because he kind of want to bait Kha'Zix in, but it allowed the Royal Club members to group up and form like an alliance together instead of just immediately Wenger ulting on Thresh and just burning him down. I think that would have been a slightly better play, but who am I to disagree with?
Freak, I've got a question for you for our next replay as well. Regardless of the strategic decision-making that Royal Club is doing mechanically, individually, we're seeing misplays. Let's pull a second replay up onto your screens. Talk me through some of the decision-making of the dive and then the eventual mistakes from Insect.
Right, so the initial dive, this is beautiful. This is Sam Swank the whole time, and again, it's their instincts of playing together for years now. Well, actually, in Pawn's case, only a few months, but Pawn and Dandy set up the gang. It's beautiful. Roll the clip out, right? They both start from out of sight. If we play it forward, we're going to see they choose to go in together. Right? They're waiting. Okay, Danny's going to stealth. You see Pawn slowly inching forward. He's waiting. He's like, okay, now you're stealth. Okay, now it's time. There he is. I mean, it's beautiful. The flash engage. Everyone else is ready to go right on top of that beautiful stuff. Honestly, there's very little Korn can do, but he shouldn't have flashed. This is just silly by Insect. He thinks he has the kill. Pawn actually turns back to cue him to lifesteal. Thanks for Ravenous Hydra, and then Mod is beautiful, knows he can exhaust, knows he, or just assumes he has the healing to keep him alive.
Yeah, just can't assume the burn was going to finish it off there. Double lift. You were trying to think
in the end
about some of the decision-making or plays from either squad?
Yeah, I was going to say, after that first replay, it just goes to show Samsung White is just so ahead of the game. Yeah, they misplayed that first fight, and they ended up trading kills when it could have been more clean, or potentially actually a loss for them. But Samsung White, it looks like they're the Power Rangers, and like Royal's just like a hot dog or something. Like they can't do anything. They're sitting in lane. They're just doing really, they're just doing normal things that actually would get them ahead if they're against anyone except for Samsung White. They're playing aggressively. They're pushing their lanes. They're looking to group and fight. But Samsung White is just like 2-3 steps ahead every single time.
See, at the start of this game, I was like, oh, it's finally getting close. Maybe we'll see a good match. And then White finds a way somehow every game to flip that switch, and suddenly your 5k go down, your towers dropping one by one, and you become a hot dog against the Power Rangers.
Exactly.
One game away before we find out if the Power Rangers or the hot dogs are going to push on to the finals, guys. We are going to head over to Twitter and ask you guys once more to share your favorite moments from Worlds with us. Send your responses to us at LOL Esports. Use the hashtag Worlds. We will be talking about them at the end of the day in the post-game wrap-up. We are going to drop in on another one of those viewing parties that is being hosted by Coke Zero. And here are the fans in a packed house at the Cinemark Legacy Theater in Dallas, Texas, where Team Dignitas's Kiwi Kid showed up to join in. Even got a little love there from TSM in a moment or two. As you hear all over the world, even cosplayers in the house. Thank you for that, guys. Samsung White are one victory screen away from clinching the Summoners Cup for 2014. We'll see if they can get it done when they face off against Starhorn Royal Club in Game 3 of our championship final.
But it's first blood going over to Uzi. Gets a second one for Cola. Insect will fall. Pawn coming in. Tries to get Talon out the end. He's going to try and get that cutthroat down.
There is Insect though. What can he do? Surely we'll be able to finish off Pawn. He's actually just left the invisibility. Whoa, they go down. Coming around the side, he'll force Uzi first down. There is Pawn as well. Can they finish him off? The burn is not. Oh my gosh. Equalizer comes down. They're probably going to dive. It's Insect that'll be the first target. Equalizer Riser goes down. Cola's already at half, but they want the squishies first.
Those going down to Royal Club. It could be Uzi going down. He's forced to use Summoner Heal. One last shot, and the Venom takes him down.